Okay, now what this assignment does, and we use this quite a bit. Today it kind of seems irrelevant, but we'll eventually calculate the slope of the lines with the given points. Now I realize you don't have graph paper, so this means x on this line they speak of. You don't see the line, but they speak of it. 4, 2 is a coordinate, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And 6, 8 is a coordinate, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that indeed forms a continuous line. Now every line had what we called a slope, okay? Now remember what I said a slope was, okay? A slope is the rise over the run. So let's start at our first point, okay? To get to this point, I have to rise 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, 5 units, 6 units. So it has a rise of 6 and a run of 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units. Okay, 6 over 3. Okay, 6 over 3 is actually 2 though, isn't it? So the slope equals, because you see a slope can be reduced. 6 over 3, we can divide both of those by 3. So that'd be 2 over 1, but if it's 2 over 1, it's really an integer, so the slope's 2. Now I need to know a way to do that without having to graph it every time. And here's the equation we use. Y minus y over x minus x, okay? And on this assignment, I want you to get very familiar with reducing, okay? All right, so this is x, this is y. This is x, this is y. Now let's see if we can get that 2 with this formula here. It always starts off minus minus, okay? What are your y coordinates? Well, we have 2 and 8. Now you can go 2 minus 8, you can go 8 minus 2. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go 8 minus 2, feels a little more natural. If I go 8 minus 2, I have to go 6 minus 4. 8 minus 2 is 6, 6 minus 4 is 2. Now, 6 over 2 as a fraction. What's the greatest common factor 6 and 2 have? Well, probably 2, okay? So that would be 3 over 1, but anything over 1 is 3. So the slope equals 3. Put equals m, because that's what you're figuring out here today. Okay, next one. If I had a line that had those 2 points, what would the slope be? Y minus y, x minus x. So here are your y's. You can go 0 minus negative 5 or negative 5. I'll go 0 minus negative 5. Okay? Now if I go like that, then on the bottom I have to take negative 3 minus 2. Okay? You put your x's on bottom, but they got to be in the same order the coordinates are lined up. Now if you have subtraction of a negative, please make it plus plus. So 0 plus 5 is 5. Negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. Now, if I have the same number, they can both be divided by 5. And that gives me 1 over negative 1. Well, one thing I don't like, okay, I'm not a big fan of that negative on the bottom. If you have a negative on bottom, switch it to the top. So whenever I have a 1 on the bottom, it's just an integer. M equals negative 1. Okay, our next problem. X, Y. So after you get that, I want it reduced down by common factors. Now there is a way to reduce, which I'm going to show you on my calculator here. Okay? Because I know some of you are like, well, I hate reducing fractions. That's okay. We got ways to deal with that. Okay. Okay, so my y's, you got to pay attention what the y coordinates are. 10 and 3. So 10 minus 3 And if I go 10 minus 3, I got to go negative 8 minus negative 5. If you have minus negative, you need to make it plus plus. So that's 7. Negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3. One thing I do not, if the negative ends up in the denominator, you can move it to the numerator. You're allowed to do that, okay? Now, if you have a negative over a negative, the negatives will cancel. But if I have a negative, I prefer it be on top. Well, if you don't like fractions, here's what you can do, reducing them. 7 ABC 3, just hit equals. You get U. Now remember what I said to do if U comes up. Second ABC equals. Okay, so that just stays 7 over 3. It can't reduce. So that's your slope. You can reduce. So if I have, for example, if I have 88 over 99, 88 ABC 99 reduces it to 8 over 9. Divides them both by 11, reduces it. Let's say I have 88 over 46. 88 ABC 46 equals. I don't like that U. If you see U, get it out of there. Second ABC equals. So it reduces it to 44 over 23. I want improper fractions, not mixed numbers. Okay, so y minus y. It's always the same formula. So here are your y's. Y goes from 4 to 1. So 4 to minus 1. If you go 4 minus 1, you have to go 9 minus 0. And that's 3 over 9. Now I would hope you know that reduces to 1/3. If not, you hit 3ABC9 equals 1/3 equals is your slope. For every 1 rise, it goes over 3. XY, XY. Okay, Y, 5 minus 10, or 10 minus 5 might make more sense. If you go 5 minus 10, then you got to go negative 2 minus negative, well, I guess they're both negative 2. Plus, plus. Now, a weird thing happens. This is 5, but this is 0. Take 5 to 0, divided by 0 on your, oh, it says error. That means the slope is undefined. And that means it's a line that looks like this. Okay, undefined. It's one of those lines where it's single variable form. Okay, next. This is pretty easy. Even the reducing you can do on your calculator. XY, XY. Because I'm not spending a whole day teaching reducing fractions. That's a middle school thing. Okay, so my y's, negative 4 minus negative 4. I guess they're both negative 4s. And then on bottom, I'll go 6 minus 4. It doesn't matter the order I go with it since the y's were the same. That's plus plus. So negative 4 plus 4 is 0, and 6 minus 4 is 2. Now, 0 divided by 2 is 0. Now, you're wondering, why did that say 0, but the other one said undefined? Well, here I was dividing by 0. Here I was dividing by 2. So the slope isn't undefined. The slope is 0. Now, if the slope's 0, it's one of those lines that looks like this. It's a straight horizontal line instead of vertical. Okay, XY, XY, Y minus Y, X minus X. Okay, so Y, you got to pay attention what your Y's are. 7 minus 2 would probably make more sense. If you do that, 7 minus 1. That's 5 over 6. Now, I would hope people would know you can't reduce that, but if you don't, 5ABC6 stays 5, 6. XY, XY, Y minus Y, X minus X. Okay, so my Y's, we got 4 and 0, 4 minus 0. And then if we go 4 minus 0, then it's got to be 3 minus negative 5. Minus negative, it go plus plus. So that'd be 4 over 8. I would hope most people know that reduces to a half in here. You're all pretty intelligent. 4 ABC 8, 1/2. Okay, next one, xy, xy. I want the fractions reduced if possible. I don't want mixed numbers, okay? Mixed numbers, not a slope. A slope needs to be in ratio form. So y, I'm going to have 1 minus, we'll go 3 minus 1. Makes a little more sense for the y's, okay? That minus that. Well, then on bottom, I have to do -5 minus 3. So that's 2, and this is -8. You'd be at -5 on a number line, and you go 3 to the left when you subtract. It's like you're adding a negative. Now, I don't like negative on bottom. Move it to the top, okay? I would hope most people know that reduces to a fourth. If not, -1/4. Okay. Okay, so negative, I'll go this way. You can go any way you want with the minus. -4 minus and then -2. That would become plus plus. So if I go that way, I need to go the same way. -5 minus +1. So that's going to be -2 on top. -5 subtract 1 is -6. Now, if they're both negative, then the negatives eliminate each other. Okay, they cancel out. 2abc6. I'd hope most people know that's 1/3. Divide them by both by the greatest common factor they have of 2. Okay, and then finally, I kind of like this one. Okay. Okay, the y's, you got -6 minus -2. I'll go like that, plus plus. Okay, and then we got -6 minus -2 again, plus plus. Well, that's going to be -4, and that's going to be -4. Negative over negative need to be canceled, the negatives. Well, 4 over 4 is 1, okay? All right, that's really all I have to say on that. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, pardon my language. Now, on story problems, when I was doing the ABC, but on these problems I was doing the ABC. Don't do that on a story problem, okay? You need to just divide, as you're going to see here. And this can apply to real life. Water's draining from a pool. After 5 minutes of draining, the water holds 800 gallons. After 12 minutes of draining, the water holds 450 gallons of water. Calculate the average rate of change in gallons per minute of the water that the pool holds. Now, what a lot of people do, gallons per minute, I'll just take 800 divided by 5. Yeah, but why couldn't you also take 450 divided by 12? I mean, if this is constant, these should be the same, shouldn't they? 800 divided by 5 is 160. Now, that better be 160. Shoot, it's not. I am given 2 different combinations. 5 minutes, 800 gallons is one combination. 12 minutes, 450 gallons is another. We are going to do this per minute, we are going to divide, but the gallons is y, the minutes is x, and we are going to use the y minus y, x minus x to figure that out. We're going to find out how much the rate of change is what it's called, okay? How much the gallons change by divided by how much the time changed by. So gallons, we'll go 800 minus 450. And then the minutes will go 5 minus 12. You have to be consistent with your order because 800 has to have its 5 beneath it, 450 and 12. So I subtract here, that's 350, and I subtract here, it's -7. So 350 divided by -7 is -50. So the gallons per minute is -50. Now it's negative because the gallons are going down. And when I have a negative going down, okay, -50 gallons per minute. It's losing 50 gallons per minute. Now, an internet service charges a one-time installation amount and a cost for each month per month. After 5 months of installation, a user will have paid $220, which includes the installation amount. After 10 months of installation, a user will have paid $370, which includes the installation amount. Find the average rate of change in cost per month. So you see dollars per month. Well, you're like, well, I'll just take 220 divided by 5. But why can't you take 370 divided by 10? These are not the same. Well, I know that's 37. Dividing by 10 just takes out a 0. That's not even close to 37. Well, it can't be both of them, okay? It's one answer. What's causing all the problems is this one-time installation amount. We don't know how much it is. We don't need to know how much it is. Eventually, we will need to have a way to figure that out. But that's not what I'm trying to accomplish, dollars per month. So I divided both of them and got different answers. So I used the y minus y, x minus x. Now remember, money's on top of the unit above per, and the time is x. So the money, y minus y, that's money, and that's months. Maybe put it over them so you know what's what. So up here, I probably should have actually put the time unit here in gallons so we knew exactly where to put things, because there is a right and a wrong way. Okay, so money. You can go 220 minus 370. You can go 370 minus 220. I'll go 370 minus 220. Kind of more natural that way. But if I'm going that way, I need to put the 10 below the 370 because that's how many months the 370 went with. Minus 5. Okay, 370 minus 220 is 150, and 10 minus 5 is 5, and I divide and I get 30. Okay, so the cost per month is $30. Y minus y, x minus x. Remember, the times your x. You got to be putting time numbers underneath.